I've just got pictures from PMO and we're going to zoom into these pictures. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcoming President Joe Biden at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. These are the pictures of just ahead of the bilateral. PMO India tweeting these pictures, and we have these pictures of them sitting, the gentlemen, the two leaders sitting together. I'm just going to zoom these pictures. Very clear, comfortable body language, very relaxed between the two, leaning into each other. That's a sign of positive body language and equations. So clearly, these are the pictures. These are now not just the pictures. We've got the video also of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Joe Biden there. One important aspect, and I'd request Rahul and also Professor Brahmachalani to comment on this, is that this time around, while we are showing our technological prowess, our development, our economic prowess, there is a huge underlining of our Sanskriti and Sabhyata, our cultural prowess. In fact, the 28-foot Nataraja right at the entrance of Bharat Mandapam, the diyas and the lamps that are there at PMO, very clearly underlining that we are now going to be very, very clear, and we're going to wear our culture proudly on our sleeves.
Well, I'll put it slightly differently. Yes, culture, of course, but culture represents civilization. I think India is going out there and telling the world that there is a third way, that we have civilizational values as represented by some of the slogans that have been used and some of the symbolism that you have directed our gaze to, Anand, to show that India can contribute where the other two systems, the Western system and perhaps even the Chinese system, has failed. We bring a bunch of values to the table that are steeped in an inclusive worldview, and that's from where we sort of take this conversation forward, because what is the one thing that is lacking in most of these bodies right now? It's a spirit of inclusion.
Inclusion.
Whether it's the United Nations Security Council, any preeminent decision-making body is not representing the world at large, especially the world in which at least a third of the population lives.
Yes.
And is going to be the future glide path to growth, or provide the future glide path to growth.
Yes.
So I think that civilizational value, that stamp, that look, we speak with an ethical background that goes back 2,500-3,000 years, is being actually represented via this. And look at this body language. This is the third or fourth meeting now in just the last 8 months.
Correct. And they look so comfortable. They say that when you have a traditional lamp that is lit, it is also because you pray that this diya or this lamp actually does away the darkness, dispels the darkness, dispels the doom and gloom, and also brings in light, brings in knowledge that's representative of knowledge. Shubham karoti kalyanam, that is what it says. Arogyam dhana sampada, Brahmachalani ji, Shatru buddhi vinashaya, Deepa jyoti namustude. So that aspect is also important. And Prime Minister very clearly at the PMO extending the courtesy that was extended to him by the US President during his visit in June. Brahmachalani ji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So it was to you, sir.
You know, I think it's unusual for the Prime Minister to host someone at his residence. And this is a special gesture for Biden. The comfort level between the two, as you pointed out, Anand, is remarkable. When Modi was quite cozy with President Trump, and then Trump was defeated, a lot of questions were raised whether Biden will have a close rapport with Modi. But the fact is that the two have developed a close rapport from the very first year that Biden took office, from 2021. And the personal relationship, the personal equation between Modi and Biden has only grown. And the body language shows that. That's a good sign, because after all, inter-country relations are shaped not only by calculations, cold calculations of national interest, but also by personal chemistry between leaders. And that, so it's very important for leaders to feel very comfortable with each other, to trust each other, to be able to do business with each other. And I think Modi and Biden appear to be quite comfortable with each other. That's a very good sign. And also, I think the fact is that the ties between India and the US have warmed to such an extent that nobody is talking about how to bring the two countries closer together. The fact is that they're already quite close together.
Yes.
And this is quite remarkable given the fact that for 40 years, India faced American sanctions. From the early 1970s onwards, for 40 years, the US aided the rise of communist China while imposing technology sanctions on India.
Yeah.
This policy changed only around 2005. So in a remarkably short period of time, US-India relationship completely transformed to the extent that as the joint statement, the long joint statement that was issued at the end of Modi's
State visit.
June visit, the state visit to Washington, that joint statement talked about making US and India very close partners of the 21st century. So that transformation of the US-India equation is astounding. Historians will notice how rapidly this relationship has blossomed.
I think